I'm gonna show you how easy it is to make your own breakfast sausage from scratch. And just so you know, you don't have to start where I start today. I'm gonna start with cutting my pork and grinding it myself because I have a grinder at home. But you could actually ask the butcher to grind this pork up for you so that you could season up your own breakfast sausage and make something that is unique to you. But today I'm gonna show you my base, and what you can do is dial in the flavors and spices and seasoning and come up with your own version of this. So to get started, what I do is buy an entire pork shoulder. Now the reason why I do this is because when they cut it at the butcher shop or at your supermarket, they actually increase the price. This here is between 8 and 9 pounds, and it was $1.49 a pound. It was just over $10, and I'm gonna end up with close to 10 pounds of breakfast sausage after we're done here. After you factor in all the spices, it's gonna come in around $2 a pound, which you really can't beat. But if you are gonna grind your own meat, the first thing you wanna do is actually remove the shoulder blade bone from your pork. So you'll wanna cut around it and then cut it into nice long strips that you can feed into your meat grinder. And I like my breakfast sausage a little bit on the leaner side, so I stick with the fat content that's inside of the shoulder as it is. But you can buy like a 7-pound shoulder and ask the butcher for a pound of extra fat if you want something closer to the brands that you would buy in the supermarket. Once you have your meat all ready to go, it's time to grind it. I like to grind on a fine setting. My grinder came with 3 different die, and I like the fine grind for this. Sometimes I'll go with the medium die, but I'll do that more for like an Italian sausage. I like to start with my grinder accessories frozen a little bit, like 10 minutes before you use them. And the same thing with the meat. This way, as the motor gets a little bit hot, because we're grinding 9 pounds of meat here, you can cool it down a little bit with the meat and with the parts. Pretty soon I'm gonna be using this breakfast sausage in a New York versus New Jersey crunch wrap episode that you guys are not gonna wanna miss. As far as the seasoning, I go with some pretty classic things that normally go into breakfast sausage. My mix starts with 2 tablespoons of crushed red pepper, 10 teaspoons of kosher salt, 5 teaspoons of brown sugar. Today I'm using dark brown sugar, which has more of a molasses content. That's gonna help you get browning around the edges as you cook the sausage. 5 teaspoons of fresh ground black pepper. Now, if I were to sit here and use my pepper mill, it would take forever, so I use my mortar and pestle. You can buy pre-ground black pepper, that's okay. The quintessential seasoning in breakfast sausage is sage. I use 5 teaspoons with this amount of meat, and also dry thyme, about 2 teaspoons of the dry thyme, but you could actually add a little bit more. As you try this, you can dial in the different seasonings and spices to make it your own. Now this is already gonna have a good kick to it because you have crushed red pepper in there, but I like mine dialed up a little bit more, so I use cayenne pepper. Now, if I were making this entire batch for myself, I would use 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, and it's spicy. Because we have a 5-year-old eating this sausage as well, I'm gonna use about half to a third of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper in here, and that's gonna give it a little bit of extra zing. By the time it's cooked out and you got your sugar in there and it's fatty, the heat's gonna be a little bit dissipated, and he likes spicy stuff too a little bit. There is one extra ingredient here, and I know a lot of people like having water listed as an ingredient, and that's 1 1/4 cups of water. You see we have about a cup of seasoning, so you'll want about the same volume of water. What that's gonna do is actually help all of those seasonings penetrate the meat as it cures a little bit. When you make this, you're gonna wanna think ahead a little bit, because that needs to cure for at least 8 hours, preferably 1 day before you actually use it. Once you have your seasonings measured out, sprinkle the seasonings over the top of your sausage, pour your water over the top of that, and then you just mix. I like to mix with my fingertips so that you don't warm up the meat too much. And you'll wanna mix for about 1 to 2 minutes just so that it's nice and homogeneous. Once you get it to that point, you're all done, but I would recommend actually rolling up one sausage and frying it up quickly just to taste for the salt. Whether you're using kosher salt, Diamond Crystal versus Morton's, or table salt, you might need to dial in the salt content a little bit. Today I'm using Diamond Crystal salt. I still wanna fry one up to see if it's gonna taste okay. Now the reason why I make so much of this is because I like to freeze it in 12-ounce portions and then make myself breakfast sandwiches with it. But also, Cassie makes some mean biscuits, so we make a sausage gravy and biscuits sometimes as well. And that's really the treat. You know, a nice fresh sausage cooked into that nice sausage gravy, poured over a nice fresh biscuit. It is one of the best comfort foods out there, one of the best breakfasts out there. And when you make it with your own sausage, it really puts it over the top. All right, here comes the taster. It's hot, it just came off that stupid cast iron. Okay. Salt level is perfect. Definitely have that spice from the crushed red pepper, cayenne. Definitely taste my herbs. I think it's balanced nicely. Like I said, this is on the leaner side for breakfast sausage, which I think I'm into. Let's make a quick breakfast sandwich with a batch that I made yesterday. gonna make a sausage, egg, and cheese on an English muffin. I'm gonna start the sausage out on the first side. I have a toasted up English muffin here. Once I flip that, that's when I'm gonna get into my egg. I'm gonna actually whip up the egg a little bit. And I'm just gonna do a classic sausage, egg, and cheese. And for the cheese, I'm gonna use American cheese. I like Cooper's Sharp American. It's my favorite cheese on the planet. So let that sausage cook up nicely on that first side. Okay, now you can see that sausage is almost cooked completely, and you can actually tell because the top is kind of translucent. I like to let it cook almost completely on that first side before I flip it, and then come in with your spatula, come underneath, flip. You see that nice crust we got there? And then I like to press it down just a little bit. Fancy a tiny bit of salt, pepper. I'm gonna whisk the hell out of it. Do that. If you want to be a savage, do 2 eggs. And right about now, our sausage is ready, so I'm gonna go directly onto my bread. Now you notice, when I made the patty, it was actually quite a bit wide, wider than what was my English muffin, because it shrinks quite a lot. I've never been able to get the fold like McDonald's does, so we're gonna try today, guys, and see what happens, because I kind of suck at it. It would probably be easier with 2 eggs, to be honest with you. I got my heat right now on medium-high. I'm kind of impatient, so I'm gonna drop the eggs. Whoa. It's hard to do and film at the same time. But since I'm impatient, let's move it to this burner, which is really hot from cooking that sausage. You can see it's starting to set a little bit. So that was kind of smart while this burner heats up. These burners heat at different rates. It's kind of annoying. Let's move with my spatula. All right. I don't want to break it up too much. And I don't like overcooked egg. Let's get some of the runny parts to the cooked part. There we go, now we're cooking. Look at that, it's getting all nice. Kind of want to flip, but there we go. Bruh. Making a mess. All right, so let's try to do a little fold. Come out with my cheese, and we are ready. The beauty of non-stick pans, you know? Normally, we'll let that sit for a minute. That's looking beautiful. I can already smell this is gonna be so good. Let me shut up, take a bite. Wow. My favorite part about this is when you make your own, you can kind of dial in that sugar content to make it pick up a lot of nice color. This here is nice and deeply rich. You have that brown sugar, there's some molasses in brown sugar. You could definitely taste that, but all the spices really make this kind of pop. I really hope you try this. So worth it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit it with a like and subscribe if you like food. For more of my breakfast recipes, click into this playlist right here.